Hi, my name is Caitlin Lawrence, and this is my informative speech on generalized anxiety disorder. But before we start, here's my audience. You think that everything's fine and dandy until one moment you're wanting to crawl into a hole because you're having an anxiety attack. It doesn't matter whether you're a boy, girl, young, or old. At some point in your life, you or someone you know could be a victim of anxiety. Today, my purpose is to inform you on what generalized anxiety disorder is and how it affects not only the carrier, but also the people around them. Specifically, we'll be looking at what it is like to live with anxiety every day. Let's start off by explaining what generalized anxiety disorder is and what the statistics are of those affected. According to Dan Stein and Eric Hollander's 2003 article, Anxiety Disorders Comorbid with Depression, GAD is characterized by worries based on extant dangers whose likelihood is overestimated and whose negative consequences are viewed as catastrophic. Anxiety is the ultimate burden on everyday life. You can be having a seamlessly normal day and then out of nowhere you will be having an anxiety attack over the smallest thing, but your brain will make it out to be something much bigger than it actually is. GAD can be considered genetic as well as it can be considered a condition disorder, meaning it can be passed on through your bloodline or something such as a traumatic experience could trigger this disorder. According to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, 40 million Americans over the age of 18 are affected by anxiety, and of those 40 million, 17 million are diagnosed with GAD. Another fact about being diagnosed is that women are twice as likely to be diagnosed as men. Now that we have learned a little bit about what generalized anxiety disorder is and the diagnostics basics, let's go on to talk about what happens once you are diagnosed with GAD. As any most normal people, being told that you are being diagnosed with something, especially something psychological, can be a little, if not very devastating. This section is to show that it isn't as devastating as one would think. Whenever a life-changing diagnosis is made, that usually means medication. With anxiety, that is a case of being prescribed medicine to be able to deal with it as the day goes on. Medication for anxiety does not get rid of it, but it does make it seem less notable most days. There are several different categories of medications that can be given, including antidepressants, beta blockers, hydroxyzine, buspirone, and benzodiazepines. When being diagnosed, it does not mean that your life is going to change completely when you think about it. Because if you think about it, you had already been acting a certain way before you were even diagnosed, because there had to be a reason for you to be seen in the first place. For most people, being told that help is for their condition is like winning the lottery. Many people just want to know why they are the way they are and what can be done about it just to be back to normal. With being prescribed medication and taking it on a regular basis, they will be able to do such. Now that you've gotten a look inside of being diagnosed and those medications as well, we'll take a turn to look at what living with anxiety is really like. Living with GAD can be like having a ticking time bomb going off in your head. You never know when an anxiety attack's going to occur, but you just know that it can happen at any time and be easily triggered. Let's take a look at what it's really like to live with anxiety. It's crazy to think that one second you could be working completely focused and then the next second you're hyperventilating because something went off in your head that triggered your anxiety, and you started praying to return to your normal state of mind in a relatively short period of time. People think that anxiety is just something that is a figment of one's mind, but in reality, it is not something to joke about. More times than not, anxiety is associated with depression, and you never know how bad someone's case can be. It is important to be understanding of the person no matter how unideal the situation is. For someone that is living with anxiety, one of the only things that they really ask for is understanding from their friends and family. It doesn't matter if you have anxiety or not. Most people in this world just want acceptance, and for someone that is suffering from anxiety, the acceptance and understanding of others is one of the most important things to them that just matters. It isn't like you asked to be diagnosed with this, it is just something that happened in life. Generalized anxiety disorder is something that should be taken seriously and be given a tremendous amount of understanding, especially when it comes to those that do have the disorder. Hopefully, with the new information you have learned, you will have more insight on this disorder and the challenges that come with it so that one day, if you or someone you know is diagnosed, you won't be completely clueless on what is ahead. Anyone can be a victim of GAD, but sometimes it just takes some knowledge and understanding to be able to cope with it easier. Thank you for listening, and here's the final shot of my audience.